up, Taiwan? I'm Ethan Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. New figures show the average lifespan in Taiwan slipped below 80 years in 2022. That's about 1 year less than the 2021 number. The Interior Ministry said Friday that men in Taiwan lived to nearly 77 on average and women to just over 83 years. The drop from 2021 is attributed to excess deaths caused by COVID-19. Taiwan saw the majority of its COVID deaths in 2022 as the country began to open up again. The country's life expectancy is still higher than the global average. People in the capital Taipei live the longest, close to 84 on average, and Taitung in the country's southeast has the shortest average lifespan at 76. As Taiwan's population continues to age rapidly, the government has been trying to convince more people to stay in work into their old age. But some of those senior employees are protesting these moves, saying the current policies aren't working. Eric Gao reports.
These senior workers are calling for a change. They say a government plan to keep older people in the office isn't going as intended, with some employers even forcing them to take pay cuts. Taiwan's population is aging rapidly, which also means that its workforce is shrinking. A few years ago, the government introduced programs to encourage companies to hire more retirees, both to boost worker numbers and to keep seniors active and earning money. But labor groups say there are too many restrictions on those policies, especially when it comes to deadlines for subsidy applications. Currently, they have to be submitted just a few months before workers turn 65.
不要只限制64岁，而是我可能65岁的时候也可以来做申请，那这样才能够实际帮助到说我真的是中高龄或是高龄的劳工，他在继续投入劳动市场。
Labor officials received the protesters' demands and said they'll take some into consideration.
有关年龄的部分，还有就是有关于申请期间的部分，我们都会把它作为未来我们在政策修改的一个研议去做参考。
But regarding pay disputes and other issues, the ministry is waiting to see how talks with employers work out before they take any further action. Alex Chen and Eric Gao for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's Constitutional Court has ruled that legal punishments under the country's current drug laws are too harsh. Trafficking in Schedule 1 substances like heroin carries a minimum of life imprisonment or the death penalty.
对人民受宪法第8条保障人身自由所为之限制，不服宪法罪行相当原则，抵触宪法第23条比例原则。
The court gave Taiwan's legislature 2 years to amend the law and allow more flexibility in sentencing, particularly for light offenses. The court also ordered that until then, punishments should be cut in half for people convicted of light offenses for trafficking Schedule 1 drugs. Taipei and New Taipei both plan to put surveillance cameras in public kindergarten classrooms. That's after a scare in May when parents feared some kindergarten teachers were drugging children. John Van Trist has this story.
Kindergarten classrooms like this one could soon have a camera in the corner. Only around a third of Taipei's public kindergarten classrooms are under surveillance now, but a recent scare might have sped up the adoption of security cameras in schools. In May, parents began to suspect that teachers at 2 local kindergartens were drugging children in their care with sedatives. The scare went all the way to the top, with Taiwan's presidential candidates weighing in. It turned out to be unfounded. None of the children tested positive for drugs, and the accused teachers were cleared of any wrongdoing. But some officials still want to avoid any similar incidents from happening in the future. On Thursday, Taipei's Education Department announced a 4-year plan to equip over 100 public kindergartens with surveillance cameras. It's setting aside around $6 million to get the job done. Meanwhile, New Taipei has announced a camera program of its own. Some parents say they're in favor of the idea.
这样很好啊，就孩子比较有安全感。
While others have reservations.
到时候如果有问题可以有证据，我不知道会不会涉及老师的隐私。
Government and school officials both say it's as much about protecting teachers as it is about reassuring parents. They also say access to the footage will be carefully restricted.
可以帮助我们还原当时候的状况。细节是我们可以自己去拟定，那我们目前还正在制定中。
我们有一个调阅的新的规定，不是说谁都可以来调阅。
But whether the teachers themselves are prepared to have surveillance cameras in their classrooms is another matter, and is something that could receive a lot of pushback from Taiwan's educators. Joseph Wu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's annual Orchid exhibition in New York has wrapped its 10th anniversary edition. Eric Tsai takes a look at the colorful and surprisingly tasty event.
Colorful Taiwanese orchids are the main draw at this botanical garden in Queens, New York. Currently the site of an exhibition featuring the eye-catching flowers. For the past 10 years, Taiwan's representative office in New York has held the annual event called Taiwan, A World of Orchids.
This beautiful orchid show symbolizes what we care about and is reflected in our tagline, which is, the Queens Botanical Garden is a place where people, plants, and cultures meet. It is a flagship event here at the garden, and it gets bigger and better each year.
The exhibition is not limited to the more than 700 orchids on display. Taiwanese food, tea, and cultural activities are also part of the program. Organizers say they hope the event will help bring the community closer.
In a world that sometimes we feel divided, events like this remind us that we can come together, we can learn from each other, and find strength in diversity.
This floral event is billed as an opportunity to learn and absorb modern Taiwanese culture and a space where knowledge and friendship can blossom. John Su and Eric Tsai for TaiwanPlus.
Long before the days of instant messaging, the humble pigeon was a way for people to communicate with each other over long distances. And as Yvonne Yang reports, Pigeon Post is still alive and well in India.
One of the oldest means of sending messages, Pigeon Post. Before modern communication, homing pigeons would be used to carry messages between police stations in remote regions in India, a custom dating back to the British colonial era. Messages would be written on light paper and placed in a copper or plastic capsule. These would be tied to a pigeon's leg before the bird set off for its destination. This building in Cuttack in the Indian state of Odisha houses over 100 Belgian homing pigeons. These birds are famous for their ability to find their way home from thousands of miles away.
This is the pigeon carrier service. We have it since 1946, and this service was basically used for communicating from one station to another station. Now we have kept it as a heritage, as a ceremonial thing with us.
When the birds are 5 to 6 weeks old, they're placed in a crate on top of their shelter to get to know their surroundings. Next, they're taken a short distance away from their home and released. Relying on instinct, the birds make their way back to their enclosure. As time goes on, the distance is extended by about 3 kilometers a day. Within 10 days, the birds can find their way home on their own from 25 kilometers away. Once trained, the routes are imprinted in the pigeon's memory for years.
I would still say today that Orissa is the only place where officially, there are private pigeon keepers who do it. Officially, under government sanction with the police, we have an organization where the pigeons are used, kept, and that makes it very unique.
As well as flying long distances, these pigeons can live for up to 20 years. Nowadays, they only tend to appear on special occasions such as India's Independence Day and Republic Day. At ceremonies to mark these events, they're released into the sky as a symbol of peace. Pigeon Post may seem obsolete in the age of the smartphone, but in an uncertain world, their usefulness should maybe not be written off just yet. Leon Lian, Sunny Chi, and Yvonne Yang for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching today's What's Up Taiwan. I'm Ethan. You'll take care, and I'll see you next time.